I'm proud of him for sure. I mean, it's not an easy decision to make, but this game is tough as it is, and it's impossible to play if you're 50% in and 50% out. It's not good for yourself. It's not good for your team. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm proud of him. I was happy for him. Feels like he's at peace with this whole thing, and that's all I care about.
What was your initial reaction when you heard?
I mean, I was shocked. Obviously, Andrew and I have played together for a long time. We played together for a long time. We've known each other. Our relationship is so much bigger than football. Football brought us together. But I was shocked for sure. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league, in my opinion. He probably never got the credit he deserved, especially early on in his career when he was getting beaten up all the time. But obviously, I'm extremely happy for his future, whatever it entails. He's going to attack it head on.
Have you spoken to him?
Not yet. I just sent him a text last night saying that I loved him. I was proud of him with this decision. As everyone knows, he's not really big in technology. So I'll probably let this whole thing die down and then call him in about a week.
Have you considered it yourself? Has there been a time, like when you were going through the concussions or whatever, like where you said, hey, maybe I'll get out sooner than later?
I don't think it's come to that point yet. I mean, it is extremely difficult when you're rehabbing from injuries. I've been blessed to not have anything too major in terms of stuff that takes a year to recover from, like he has, it seems like. And when you walk into somewhere each and every day and the first thought is, how are you doing physically? It's not how you're doing as a person. It's how's your recovery going? It definitely weighs on you. You want to be able to be at your best each and every day. And there's sometimes that your body just doesn't allow it, and it's tough. Not only physically, but I think mentally the toll is even more so, because you mentally you feel so capable that you're able to go out there and play at a high level. Sometimes your body just doesn't let you do that, and I've been fortunate enough, been blessed to not have those huge injuries like that. But I mean, I think that's kind of the way the NFL is right now. That there's probably going to be more guys retiring earlier than later. It's always better to leave a play early than a play too late in this game, because there's so much risk that I think comes along with the sport. But it's definitely not easy.
Zach, have you learned anything about Andrew over the years that helps kind of make sense of this decision?
Not really. I mean, this surprised me for sure. I know he got married this offseason. I think perspective, when you get a family, when you get, I think, more people that are relying on you, it's easy when you're young and you're doing everything by yourself. You don't really think long term about how the injury that I'm dealing with now could affect my life down the road. As you get a family, as God willing, kids down the future, I think that all comes into play. It's not solely about us as players anymore. And I was surprised. I feel like just like everyone else, I was watching the Miami-Florida game last night, and it comes on the bottom of the screen, and I called our boys, and I was like, what is going on? And so I was shocked.
Zach, you've probably seen over the years, like guys, even in this locker room, guys you've played with and stuff, kind of, go through a lot of stuff. Like, do you ever wonder, like, how they can keep, going and stuff like that sometimes?
I think every case is unique. I mean, each person has different priorities. Each person has different goals. I mean, there's some guys that are younger in their careers that go through a lot. Some guys older. Some guys in the middle. I feel like it's just so individual. It's never easy for us to go in there and play hurt, and oftentimes that one of the first things that you hear when you come into the NFL is that the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. And each and every week you're dealing with something after Sunday, after the game, and it's just trying to find ways, consistently find that motivation to come back and continue to do it. Sometimes it's just too hard. And I think that's why a lot of guys call it a career. I think mentally it was more difficult probably than the physical stuff. But yeah.
What were your best memory of Andrew Luckney personally? What do you think of?
I mean, I think of our time back at Stanford, obviously. That's when we were teammates. That's when we became extremely close. We had a lot of good times together. Some of the best memories will be the off the field, just how close we were as Stanford teammates. At Stanford, it truly was a brotherhood. He was a year older than me at Stanford, so we were teammates for 3 years. And like in the off season in 6 a.m. workouts, it would be tight ends and quarterback would always be competing against one another. And with me and Andrew off the field, it was very relaxed and supportive. But in those situations, we were extremely competitive against one another. And sometimes guys would kind of there would be one drill where someone would let one person win, and then there would be another drill that someone else would let the other guy win. And with us, it was just we were trying to go at each other's throats for 2 hours at 6 a.m. in the morning. And just we were so competitive with one another. I think it really helped with both of us. And then Saturdays in the off season, I'd get phone calls at 5 p.m. be like, "Hey, what are you doing? Let's go run routes." And so it would just be the two of us on the field at Stanford throwing. It was just he was one of the best teammates I've ever had. One of the best people I've ever been around, and definitely one of the most talented.
You remember the first talk to him, or will you talk to him eventually about this?
Yeah, I'll probably touch base in a week or so. You know, obviously there's a lot going on. He's not the best with technology, like I said, so probably in about a week.
Do you remember the first time you met him? Was it on your recruiting visit, or?
Yeah, so it was. I don't remember the exact time. I just remember I was coming out of high school, and you know, I had Stanford, UCLA were kind of the final schools, and the Stanford coaches kept telling me, "Hey, there's this freshman that if you come here, he's going to be the real deal." And they didn't play him his first year in the program, which I think is kind of abnormal, especially now today.
Yeah.
But he redshirted that whole year, and he comes back that second year just on fire. My freshman year, his second year is redshirt sophomore year, and he was just a special player. Led us to a lot of great wins at Stanford. We had a lot of great memories together.
As a follow-up to that, in 2011, you saw him make a decision that kind of on the outside people didn't understand. When he came back,
Yeah.
he could have been the #1 pick. Has he always kind of been guided by himself as opposed to maybe what outsiders would think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew's always going to do things that he views best for himself. I mean, his dad obviously went through a lot of it, Oliver, in the NFL, so he played. He's dealt with all the pressures of playing in the NFL, so I'm sure Andrew did that. You know, Andrew lived in Europe for a few years during NFL Europe when his dad was the commissioner over there. So he's seen so much, and he understands that football is not who we're defined as people. But it is really hard to separate the two, especially when you're a player of his caliber. I was probably more surprised at this decision than that one at Stanford. You know, at Stanford, we'd be in the locker room, and there would be stuff on the TVs about him all the time because it was all the hype about whether he was going to win the Heisman or come out early. And he would literally go up to the TVs and turn them off because it wasn't never about him. He just wanted it to be about the team. And that's probably the best story I have, actually, out of all those, thinking about it. That's just so Andrew. He was always team-oriented. He never really cared about himself as an individual or how he was viewed on the outside. I think that's why he loved Stanford so much, because when we were there's so many successful people on that campus and alumni that he was just one of the guys. And, yeah, it was fun.
Is your prevailing sentiment kind of sad that this career was cut short, or happy that he's found this clarity in his life?
I think I'm happy that he's found this clarity. You know, obviously he could have played another 10 years if he really wanted to, if he was willing to kind of go through everything again with this injury, whatever was going on. I still don't know what was going on. But I'm more happy that he's found peace in this decision, that he's able to step away when he wants to on his own terms instead of on someone else's terms. And he played 7 years and had an unbelievable career, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the most talented players I've ever been around.
Can't really do anything about it. Yeah, we'd like to have reps, but can't really do anything about it, so we'll see what happens.
What are you doing to, I guess, minimize the effect?
A lot of it's just mental reps and then getting my body right, so I'm just getting ready to play.
What can you share about like how your rehab's coming, like if you're going to be ready?
Yeah, it's good. And I'll be ready for week 1. So.
I think we ask you this every year, but to the ones knowing they're not going to play, do you guys start prepping a little bit for Washington this week?
Yeah, that's usually how it works every season. So try to maximize the days we have, and then get a few days in on Washington this week, and then focus on the Jets.
How'd you hear about Andrew?
Heard about it this morning. The guy's going through a lot of stuff, so whatever makes him happy, man. That's all you can ask for.
Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was surprised just because he's still young. He still has some years left, but obviously, he's had a lot of stuff, labrums, whole bunch of stuff. Lacerated kidneys. I mean, these guys going through a lot of stuff. So
Kelce talks about, I've considered retiring the last 2 or 3 years. Have you ever considered, okay, this is too much, or is that even on the horizon for you?
I thought about it, then I thought, what else would I do?
You can do this job.
I maybe coming here with y'all one day. Yeah, I mean, it just gets monotonous, just doing the same stuff day in, day out. You kind of get bored with it, but then at the same time, you realize that you're lucky to even be here. So that's how I look at it.
It's easy to look at it too, knowing that there's a real chance this year for this group. Is that one of the things that keeps you going, knowing how this seems this summer that you can make a pretty good run?
Yes, that, and I just, all my buddies, miss my family. So, I love going to work, even though sometimes it's work, exactly what it is. But I have a good time with my buddies.
What kind of progress do you feel like Jordan has made to taking all those reps?
He's made a lot of progress, especially from last year to this year. Got a lot more comfortable. Done some good stuff in the games, using his hands a lot better and being a lot more aggressive out there.
These past 2 years, you've had to play through a lot of different things. Are you expecting to be playing through things this year, or is this a matter of
probably?
Yeah.
I really don't. It's how it is. I feel lucky to even be out there. So that's how it is. I mean, a lot of guys are banged up year in, year out, but I feel I'm better right now than I was last year, so I'll be good.
At this time, you're better.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really hit me until, probably week 3, week 4 last year, and I got an injury, but I'm starting to get my body back.
Where is Big V compared to where he was, 6 weeks ago as a right guard?
He's progressing. I mean, he's gone in there and done some good things at guard. Just showing his versatility. He's been able to play right tackle, left tackle, and now some guard. So kind of like a guy like Isaac can kind of do it all. So the more you can do in this league, the better it is for you.
Do you expect to be practicing this week, next week?
Probably next week before go. This week I'm probably going to gradually get some individual and then gradually increase it.
One other thing, Andre Dillard being a rookie, what have you seen from him, his progression, just since he started?
He's got all the tools, so all he needs is just to play. So that's it with him. So, I mean, he is as advertised. So as far as him progressing, just take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time. That's all you can do.
I don't know that we're expecting Brandon to play week 1 or week 2 or whatever. He's had such a good career here.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that he does that maybe we overlook sometimes as a right guard? Things that he does that maybe other right guards aren't asked to do or just can't do?
I just think he's very efficient in what he does. I mean, a lot of stuff, a lot of guards have to get in a 3-point stance to move people. He can primarily be in a 2-point stance just because he's so powerful. And just, I think just how efficient he is with what he does. He makes it look easy. So some people may get turned off by that, but then you see other guys on film and they can't even do the things he can do. So he's efficient, he's big, he's large, and he's powerful and a really smart player too. So that's why he is who he is.
Did you do a press conference? I haven't seen it yet.
Said it was the cycle of pain.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks. It's definitely part of the game. Pain in itself is a pretty depressing thing. And having to deal with it constantly, having to go through that is something that's not fun. So you're always constantly weighing, how much, that's bringing you down versus all the other joys you get out of the game. And obviously Andrew made a decision that he's kind of done with it. So, yeah, I think that anybody who plays football at this level or in general can understand, especially once you start playing for a long time and once you've been through the ringer, you understand what guys are going through. And, I'm happy that he's finally at peace with it.
Can you really kind of admire him for, he's 29, he's got a lot of money on the table if he stayed.
He's also made a lot of money too. I think once you get to a point where you're comfortable financially, he's more than set, should be, as long as he takes care of himself. And, I think that, money is definitely, it can be, obviously it's a big part of it, but that's only one piece. I think that, obviously he sounds like he was enduring a lot and was kind of tired of it. So, I'm sure he has more than enough to be happy with.
What was the worst year for you as far as dealing with pain so far?
It's tough. Last year was a grind for sure. It's going to continue to. There's always pain in this league. This league has a 100% injury rate. So I think that you try to get used to it, and then as you play longer, you have more and more things that just add up. So I don't know that I'd be able to say which year was the worst. Last year there was quite a few things, but
Which injury was the worst to play
play through?
Yeah.
Sports hernia for sure, or core muscle injury. Sorry.
That's 14, right?
Yeah, that one was rough, and that was, I was back in 5 weeks, and we pushed it to really try and get there, and I think that throughout the week it was really, really hard to even do so much as jog or go out on the field. So, you get a few things on game day can help out, and then obviously, I think that it was important for me to try and get back, and I wanted to go out and play, and but that was probably the hardest one, and that one took a while to get over.
Because the things on game day, I imagine you're talking about, therapies and painkillers and things like that, and maybe during the week as well. Do you think about that, of what it does to your body, what it does to your liver and your kidneys and things like that?
Well, we do here. Anybody who's on any type of anti-inflammatory, any type of medication here, they're constantly being assessed with blood work to check out how your liver enzymes and kidney functions are. So I'm not too worried about it. I think they do a good job here of making sure that we're doing it responsibly. We don't hand out painkillers like that. As a matter of fact, in my entirety of being an Eagle, I think the only time I ever got painkillers was after my ACL injury. That was prescribed obviously by the surgeon. I think that everybody's got to deal with it how they can. For me, I like taking anti-inflammatories if you have to, if you can get away with it without doing that. Try and do that, but yeah.
How you feeling this summer? And as you get older, you kind of learn to manage things a little better.
Yeah, I think that my knee in particular has been bothering me for a couple of years, and I think that we've been. It's nothing that bothers me on game day. Just every once in a while, little nagging type things. And as we've understood what causes that, and as we've understood exercises and things to alleviate that, it's gotten better. So even though it might flare up more now as I'm getting older, I think we understand how to treat it and make it feel better, so it's not as nagging as it has been in the past.
They've managed your practice days this summer maybe more so than in the past. Have you seen the benefits of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that guys like me, guys like JP, guys that have a lot of wear and tear on them, I think that don't get me wrong, there's still an important aspect of getting physical reps and conditioning and things like that. That's still very much important. But also, I think being physically at your best on game day is pretty important as well. So I think, we've been trying little things out through OTAs and through training camp, and I think we've got a good plan moving forward.
Was it your knee last year that your whole leg was discolored?
I think you hear stuff,
What injury was that?
Well, I've had a few of those, so I'm trying to. Last year the only thing I had this MCL on that knee. I don't know. I can't remember if that resulted in discoloration of bursa sacs. Yeah, it's a violent game. Yeah, I've burst bursa sacs and had the whole leg be black and blue before.
I just thought it was
that. I don't know. I couldn't pinpoint one injury, I guess.
All this said, you still have the same fire going into the season as you always have.
Well, you always have the same fire, I think, and I think even Andrew probably still has the same fire. It's just that fire didn't overmatch the depressingness of the pain that he had to endure. So I think that I definitely have. I'm the same guy that I've always been, and I love going out there and playing ball. I love playing with the guys next to me. I love coming to work every single day. So I think in that respect, I'm very much looking forward to playing another year.
What's more of a challenge for a player? Is it playing through the injury, or is it kind of the prospect of having to recover, whether it's the rehab during the off season or
It depends. Depends on how painful it is to play through, and also how long the rehab is. I think anything, and this is why I have a lot of respect for people that do long distance races, marathons, things like that. I could never do that. That's too much. So I think that for my mentality, I can endure a lot of things short term. Once it starts to become a long term type thing, that's when it really starts to wear on you mentally, I think.
I'm sorry, do you think with Andrew retiring, and I know a couple years ago Calvin Johnson kind of did the same thing, more players will kind of re-examine how they look at the joy of playing football as opposed to the pain and stuff they endure?
Yeah, and I don't think that that's a new concept either, to tell you the truth. I think that this has been something that's probably happened through the existence of the NFL. I think when you look at a guy like Andrew Luck, I don't know, he's made a lot of money to this point, so he's got a lot of security in his life, and I think you look at the injuries and stuff that he's enduring on a daily basis, maybe his frame of reference is a little bit different, but I think this is something that every football player deals with. You saw, John Moffitt retired as like a second-year guy. He didn't want to do it. I mean, guys have – I don't think there's anything that's really that new, to tell you the truth.
You guys had some injury issues last year on your line that impeded your line's development. Is there anything you can do about that this year, because you're kind of in the same boat? Is there anything to be gleaned from last year that makes this year's first 2 or 3 weeks a little bit less daunting?
I think we've played next to each other a lot. I don't really I'm pretty comfortable with whoever's in the game. I think that we're really, really fortunate as a team to have the caliber players we have in backup roles. You can start on any other team or a lot of other teams. And I've had a lot of work, obviously, with with V. I've had a lot of work, with Wiz. I've had a lot of work with a lot of different guys. So for me, I'm not too worried about it. I think that I've got more than an adequate amount of experience playing next to whoever's out there. So I feel pretty comfortable.
How has V improved over the last 6 weeks?
He's gotten a lot better. Yeah.
And how so? Where has his improvement come most markedly?
Well, I think it's just the little things. I think guard is a little bit different than tackle. Everything happens a little bit faster. You're more of a phone booth, so you don't have as much space. So I think little things like stepping on feet, spacing, fitting blocks, so you're really hip to hip with them when you're double teaming, understanding what a guy's going to do and how he's going to react. I think all those little things he's gotten better and better at anticipating and doing.
Doug said that the work that the ones getting the last couple weeks really have ramped up your preparation for the season. Do you feel you and the top unit is pretty much where you want to be at this point, as far as getting ready for the season?
Yeah, it is what it is. I think that we're going to continue to work this week, get ready for Washington. I think that, obviously it hasn't been perfect. We've had guys in and out of the lineup, obviously, but, I think that we're ready to go. I think that we're going to be more than capable of being effective and go out there and play well.
Feel good. Any setbacks or pain or issues that surprised you over the last week or so?
Nah, if there was, I probably wouldn't be doing team today. So
the offensive line didn't get a whole lot of cohesive reps last year together. Do you think that you're better prepared this year as an offensive line to go into week 1, 2, and 3 than you were last year in that situation?
We've been playing together for a long time. So, we know how each other plays and, strengths and weaknesses. So, I'm really not that concerned about it.
Did you hear about Andrew Luck last night or today?
No.
What was your reaction?
First and foremost, I commend him, man. It's funny when you play this game. It seems like the older you get, the more you understand, when guys make a decision like this. Like I said, I totally understand. He's making a decision that's long-term, that's lifelong. And, early on he was taking a lot of punishment, man. So, he's battling through different injuries. He was an amazing guy from what I understand from different guys that came in contact that played with him. So, I know whatever he does, next year he'll be successful in.
He mentioned several times the sort of the psychological element of his decision and how it wore on him for 3-4 years in a row now. Can you sympathize with that? Can you understand sort of where he's coming from, where his mind and his football acumen is here, but his body won't let him perform at that level, and how that weighs on him or weighs on you psychologically?
Yeah, man. Trying to battle through rehab while trying to play, and then trying to be the player that you want to be, and everybody holds you to be, and you can't. Definitely, it's frustrating. Heart definitely goes out to the guy. Psychologically, it definitely wears on you because the second you get off the field, you got to come in here and do extra. For him, I believe it was his shoulder, and I guess more recently his calf. Things like that. You know, he was a tremendous warrior, just battling, you know, time and time again, year and year. And, you know, it's just unfortunate, you know, his career is, you know, cut short because of, you know, injuries and stuff. So physically, like I said earlier, man, I get it, man. You know, he's worn down physically and mentally. So, again, I commend him, wish him the best in, you know, whatever he does next, and I know he'll be successful.
You're doing team drills, is this just another great obstacle that you've overcome? Do you look at it that way? This is the next step?
I mean, yeah, you know, it really, I guess cliche to say, but it really is the next step, you know, the team to see how it responds, you know, doing, you know, running and pulling and, you know, everything they asked me to do.
You've been saying since way back that you still target week 1. I would assume in your mind still you're thinking of that.
Yeah, you know, thinking week 1, but at the same time, you know, being smart as well. You know, if I'm physically not ready, well, then I'm not going to go out there and put myself in a bad position or put my teammates in a bad position at the same time. But if I'm ready to go and I feel fine, you know, that's what I'll do.